Hello, people of the internet. It is your favorite big black boy, Kishi Wishi. And today we're gonna keep the theme going. I know it's been a couple days since I've uploaded one of my little yappy apps. You know, we love Kishi Wishi yapping yappity yap. So today in my yap session, this is actually gonna be a re-recording because I did record this topic literally like probably this exact day a week ago, but I ended up unplugging the mic halfway through. And for those of you who are kind of curious to see what what the setup looks like this is literally like whenever I record these talking head video, or not even talking head video because you don't even see my head, but whenever I record one of these videos, I'm literally in the discomfort of my hot Floridian black car in the Florida summer with the engine off, and I don't have AC. Thank you. So today I wanted to talk about parenting, and more so millennial parenting. And I'm basically going to talk about how the previous generation affected how the current in-school generation are. And I'm talking about Gen Alpha. Like, if you look anywhere on the internet, you'll see Gen Alpha can't read, Gen Alpha can't do this, Gen Alpha can't do that, Gen Alpha rely too much on AI, Gen Alpha just being gremlins, Gen Alpha doing the 6-7, or the creators of the 6-7 meme, or maybe that might be Gen Z, because apparently Gen Z is between ages 27 to 14, which is just fucking crazy, because what the fuck do I have in common with a 14-year-old? We're not going to talk about that because most of the people that do watch me are 14. But yeah, let's just get into this topic. So first things first, I think one of the biggest issues that's going on with the parenting from our previous generation, that being millennials and Gen Xers, because you know who our parents were. Like, majority of Gen Z's parents are gonna be either Gen Xers or boomers, and that's only if the boomers decided to pop one out at the age of 70. Like, maybe somebody's, canonically speaking, if you're over the age of 60, you should be a grandfather, but I do know some people who's fucking, like, they're 20 years old and their dad is like 70, and I'm like, holy shit, what? My dad just hit 53 this year. Like, what the fuck are you talking about? And I'm 24. I almost said 25, but I'm not that old. I think the main reason why, let's say late Gen Z, early Gen Alpha kids are the way they are is because of how much, and I know I'm gonna piss you guys off, but I gotta be controversial here, but I believe the main reason why a lot of Gen Alpha's kids are the way they are is because of how much feminism affected the household and made it so either the dad is incredibly weak and not authoritative in any capacity whatsoever, or the dad is just straight up absent. Because think about it, the biggest propaganda against men being fathers in the home happened around the 90s, and I'm saying this from a very biased lens because obviously that wasn't for the greater demographic. Like, it wasn't every single family in America, but I have this headcanon that everything that affects the black community eventually becomes everybody else's problem. Because look at it, I'm saying some very generalized shit. Remember, I was born in the year 2001, so anything prior to that, I probably read it in a book and read it incorrectly, because you know the literacy rate in America is fucking on a downhill slope. But yeah, think about it. Black people were doing pretty fine. We were upstanding citizens. We tried to do everything, you know, not weaponize whiteness, but, you know, for a good period of time after the Jim Crow era, or during the Jim Crow era, black people made an effort to be very proper, you know, very style their hair a certain way. This video isn't supposed to be me just going into a cultural deep dive on black people, so sorry for any of you who were probably grimacing at the fact that I'm talking about this. But think about it. For much of American history, after slavery ended, black people tended to be more proper, going to church, you know, believing in God, all of that stuff. And then what happened? Crack got introduced into our neighborhoods and made people dependent on the government, or like more criminalized and going to jail and shit. And then come around the 90s where they basically crackdown 2.0 happened, and it was basically an excuse to get the black father out of the home. So the black women are dependent on the government for assistance and for everything. So the government can just dictate your way of living, which is Section 8 housing. Look how shitty Section 8 housing is. So now let's look at 2025. Do white people have a drug problem? Ding, ding, ding. Yes, they do. Isn't it just like a general thing now where instead of it being solely black women saying I don't need no man, now it's every American woman saying the same shit? And I know you guys are gonna say, oh, what does this have to do with feminism? See, feminism isn't, okay, this is the best way to put it. If you want to affect a country's population, you don't go for the men, you go for the women, because everything that a man does everything a man does at some point, it has something to do with a woman, and I don't give a fuck. I don't give a fuck what anybody you guys say. It is what it is, and I'm not saying like, oh, this isn't about lust. This is just about biology. Like, why do niggas go out of their way to achieve anything? To eventually get a girlfriend and then the girlfriend turns into wife and then wife has kids and then boom, I have a family and something worth shit. Like, most of the times, let me not even say most of the times, but the easiest way to get a legacy is to have children. That's the easiest way to get a legacy. And if you maintain that legacy really well, it's gonna actually be a legacy. But if you just go around popping, having kids with a bunch of random bitches because you're just a piece of shit and you just want to get a nut off, like, yeah, no. And that's where I'm saying, like, feminism has affected the previous generation so much that now Gen Z are the one, like, bro, the amount of hats I've personally worn and I've seen other people worn as a Gen Z man, where there was a time where I was I wouldn't say ultra super liberal, like there was a time where I was super liberal, but fuck out of my face with that gay shit, you know what I mean? Like I was like, I all of the liberal policies, like fully democratic, I was that, right? But at no point did I ever look at a dude and I'm like, damn, I might kiss you. Like, fuck no. Like, I was never that deep in, like, even though some people did want me to get that deep in. But yeah, feminism. And the reason why I'm saying feminism is the thing, because when you tell a population, or when you convince half of the population, hey, you know the role that you've been comfortably filling, that's actually wrong. You should actually go into the other role that's super harder to do, and then the guy or the person that is supposed to be in that hard role, so you don't have to do it, you're gonna put him into your subservient role, but you're gonna be mad at him constantly because of how stressed out you are from doing his role. That's basically what that is the most fundamental understanding, or the fundamental description of what feminism is. It's just women taking on a harder role than they need to and getting mad at the people they put in the roles that they were previously in, because realistically, not even niggas want to be men. But at the same time, it's like, if I don't, who will? Like, that's the type of fucking, like, I feel like that's the main thing that a lot of niggas don't have anymore, is that, for any of my Dragon Ball fans, you probably got that reference immediately. But if I don't, who will mentality, we've sucked that shit out of men to the point where, like, a good portion of millennials are just soy boy pussies. And it's crazy for me to think that me as a Gen Z, there's millennial men out there that I am stronger than, which, if you know anything about muscularity and males biology, the older you get, up until you're like 50, you just continuously get stronger. Like my grandpa's in his 70s, but 10 years ago, if me and him were to do an arm wrestle, that nigga would beat my ass. And that's just how musculature works. It's like, at a certain point, you get really strong and you have that supreme dad strength and it goes away. But now I think, like, millennials don't even have that. Like, millennial men, I swear, like, we could probably do a study. Millennial men probably have a lower or equivalent testosterone to the most femboy twink Gen Z man out there. And, you know, back to the whole topic of feminism, having an aggressive mom and a passive father are like the worst examples for kids to look up to, because all that's teaching you is that, hey, if I'm aggressive, I get what I want. That's all it teaches you, young boys and young girls. That's what you learn. But then as a young boy, see, the thing with the difference between men and women is the amount of consequences you do face for aggressive behavior. And that's more so in the modern lens. Obviously, in the past, if a woman was being very aggressive, her husband would very quickly shut that shit down, because, like, why are you misrepresenting me? Like, yeah, you're my wife, you're supposed to be this cute, beautiful, calm, collected, patient woman. Why are you flying off the fucking handle right now in front of my friends? See, that's what it used to be. Nowadays, women can be as aggressive as they want, solely because the men in their lives are too passive to put them in their place. And if you don't know, this is one truth about women, and I don't give a fuck what anybody says. You can say I'm full of shit, I'm an incel, I'm a fucking, like, all of that other shit, but like, motherfucker, I have a girlfriend, and yeah, like, I don't run my relationship like a 1950s relationship. Like, obviously, if there's something bothering her, she has more than just the right to mention it. But if she's being irrational or like acting out in a very aggressive way where it's like, okay, like, this is blown out of proportion, like, no, I'm gonna shut that shit down, and I don't care, and I let her know I don't care. Like, yeah, you're mad as shit that this thing just happened and you're cussing all this, but like, there's kids nearby. I'm not gonna tell her to shut the fuck up, because like, I'm gonna be the one that shows a good example of, hey, kids, you see this girl who is my girlfriend is acting aggressively, and this is not how you're supposed to act in a public setting. So what I'm going to do, I'm gonna correct her behavior, and you guys are probably saying I'm infantilizing her by putting it this way, but kids learn by example, and simply by doing that, simply your father telling your mom to calm the fuck down when she's being irrational will serve you so much better in the long run as a kid growing up into adulthood versus a dad who just takes all this shit from your mom and then quietly is resentful, and then eventually divorces and all that shit happens. And I think feminism, it's no surprise that with the rise of feminism we see the rise of divorce rates, and I don't think it's necessarily feminism itself. Like, yes, women should go to work, and I don't know who had this idea that women didn't need to go to work. Like, that was a very short time in history. Like, the whole 1950s trad wife thing, that was such a short, like, I don't think people understand, for most of human history, no matter what, if you're an adult person, you need to do some type of work to survive. The only reason why the 1950s was the way it is was because of economic prosperity. Like, did y'all niggas forget that there were 2 back-to-back world wars prior to the 1950s? So niggas just had so much money and had so much free time to have all these fucking kids that the economy was just in such a big boom that it allowed women not to work. But if you look at the same population in like the 17th century and before, what do you mean you were home all day and all you did was clean? Like, bitch, while I'm out on the fucking Oregon Trail, killing bison and shit, you're telling me you didn't fucking do the farm work? Like, who the fuck is gonna move these hay bales? I was gone for 12 hours today. Like, and that's the shit that I feel like like a feminism at its core when it comes to the family dynamics, I feel like it's just too calculated. It's like feminism just feels like it was a psyop to make the family unit weaker so the government can dictate our lives even more. And look at it now. Look at it today. It's worked. Like, how many 30-something-year-olds, or about to be 30-something-year-olds, that are about to that are still living with their parents? They don't even have families yet. Like, there's gonna be a gap in the population where it's just a bunch of people who didn't have kids for like a 10-15 year lifespan. And I guess I'm gonna end the video here. Sophia just came outside because, as you guys can see, I'm inside the hot car. But yeah, now she's looking at me. But in conclusion, if you want to raise your kids right, you got to be a man and you got to be a woman. You got to know your role. You got to play your role. But just because you're in your role doesn't mean you're any less of a human. Anyways, peace. I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye. Like, y'all thought I was joking. Like, she literally came outside because she missed me. Look at her. Sophia. Did my thing come in the mail?